And hello. No, I'm not on a break. We're just getting started. I do need to turn that volume off because I have a delay in my ear, and that can drive me absolutely bonkers. So let's not get driven bonkers on a Friday. Maybe on a Wednesday, that'd be fine, but don't want to get driven bonkers on a Friday. I don't know why it makes a difference. It just does to me. Saget says from the halls of Montezuma. I don't understand the reference, but Montezuma is a word that does, tickle something in my brain. There are just some words that just make me happy to say. It's like Abu Dhabi. I lived in Abu Dhabi for 8 months back in the day, and it just always was never like, got tired of saying Abu Dhabi. So Montezuma put that right up there. So what we have here today is the Shores of Tripoli. Definitely a little bit off from my normal fare. This is a review copy sent to me by Fort Circle Games. This game is designed by, this is me being terrible with names and having a whole bunch of stuff in the top of this box already, Kevin Bertram. Kevin Bertram, thank you so much for this review copy, Kevin. And I connected on Twitter, I don't know, a while ago. He is the designer and I believe the sole owner and sole designer of Fort Circle Games. They have done a couple of games. They recently just had a game on Kickstarter about women's suffrage. That's voting for people who prefer, not so fancy words, I guess. I don't know. So it is not a suffrage. It sounds a little misleading. Yes, it's just about voting, people. That's all it's about. So some cool games, some historical themes. I did not know much about the Barbary Wars, and this was a really cool journey through history for me. I am not much of a history guy. I find a lot of history super depressing. There's a lot of history in here that's a little bit depressing when you start to think about what was going on, but it is really a very interesting game, and I'm glad and I'm happy for the opportunity to play it. This is not a game that I would have likely picked up on my own, but to learn the solo mode and to kind of go through it a few times, there's a lot here to like. And if you're a war gamer or know someone who's really into history, I think there's a lot of reasons that this might be a game for you to consider, either for yourself or for someone that you know. Very decently accessible. I do find the solo mode a little bit on rails after a few plays. And that's fine. I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot of stuff into the system that's going to make it hugely variable. But again, I've gotten more gentler about games that are just for me, just like, hey, an experience I really like to have, like kind of like an escape room. And then I'm happy to kind of move on from that. I mean, you think about an escape room, what's that going to cost you? 35, 40 bucks for like a really good one. I think you're getting a lot of value out of a game like this, where it's like, even if you just kind of learn the system, figure out how to beat it pretty regularly, and then move on or pass it on to someone who might appreciate it, right? Production value is great. The pieces are really cool. Cards are nice. And again, the history here is super cool to kind of work through. So this game will not take that long unless I do something really wrong. And there's a chance that it might not take that long. And a bad roll could mean an early game, and then we might just have to play it twice, which would totally work for me. So here we are. Shores of Tripoli, I think, would be, again, I was talking about the replayability from a solo game. I think this game could really come to life in two players, in a two-player variety. I have not played as two players. It is designed to be a two-player game, with the American side sitting on this side of the table, so far from me, and then the Tripoli player on this side of the table. So obviously in a solo game, you're just going to set everything up and you just sit on the south side of the board. But you are set up in North Africa, again, Mediterranean Sea. And what you have is basically back in the earliest part of the 19th century, so 1801 to 1806 specifically, you are basically, the Americans are trying to establish some kind of relationships and trade in the Mediterranean Sea. The Tripolitans, or Tripolitanians, or the people in Tripoli are not necessarily thrilled about the American presence, and are basically also have a fair amount of piracy that's going on. So there was some things. Our merchant ships were getting routed, and trade was getting super expensive. So America, in the classic American fashion, is like, you know what? You don't want us there. We're gonna come even more. And they sent over some frigates and some naval presence to try to basically insist on their presence being there, because it was good for trade, and that's fine. So here we are. There is Sweden played a role. There are some other nations around here that also were allies of Tripoli that were active in the region, so we will see some of them over the course of today. Specifically, we have Tunis, we have Algiers, and we have Tangier. I think we're the three. What is Algiers, Tangier, and Tunis. So you'll see that come into play with like Morocco and again Tunisia and Algeria. Yeah, that's where their allies will be. So we might also have to do a show of force there to prevent Tunis from getting too many allies, because they get allies, obviously they would be stronger. There is an entire, so we have the rule book here. There is an entire other book which goes to all the history, which I did read once. I retained like 40% of it. So if you're really interested in the history, this book, the rule book, the game does come with an amazing which again I haven't thoroughly researched, I haven't fact checked it. I'm going to assume that it's all on point, but it does come with a really nice explanation of the history that gives you a lot more flavor of what these cards mean. Every single card here is based on a historical event. There are some liberties taken. I mean, it's a board game. There are some liberties taken with the years and stuff. What happened in the really first Barbary War? Obviously, this is like an open-ended world. There was like there was somebody who actually won the first Barbary War, right? And I honestly, I'm pretty sure it's the American side, but I could be wrong about that. But in this game, it's going to be either Tripoli or the Americans win. So obviously, there's going to be some open-endedness, and there was some liberties taken. But the book does a really good job explaining what liberties were taken in the design of this game. So I really appreciate all the touches that in there. And there's also a really nice letter from Thomas Jefferson himself. How great. X Hunternator X. Oh no, wooden cubes. I was afraid it would come to this. Time for an intervention. Awesome. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. Man, I'm so so ignorant, dude. I'm sorry. I will try to fill this gap in my knowledge. There's lots of gaps. That's from Brian ID Jester. Hello there, everybody. We have the pirate look going on today. Looks good. Excellent. All right. Well, in setup. So the setup in a two-player in a solo game. I'm not two players. I'm just me. In a setup in a solo game is slightly different from the setup in a two-player game. Well, first we're going to have and I don't know exactly what's different, but just know that if you're playing two-player, just make sure you read the rulebook carefully, because I'm going to set it up for a solo game, and I could do that pretty much from memory at this point. So we have 3 frigates in the harbor of Gibraltar. What you'll notice is you have the harbors. The harbors are the circles. Any of that light blue area next to a harbor is a naval patrol zone. So we're going to have 3 frigates in the harbor of Gibraltar. We have 2 corsairs. I think that's how you say that. Corsairs in the harbor of Gibraltar as well. Gibraltar is kind of like a peace zone. So even though we're there, normally you will not have red ships and blue ships in the same spot without going, we don't like each other. But here they're going to be able to chill and just, all just hanging out, having a good time with Gibraltar. It's totally cool. So no fights at all there. We have 4 Tripoli infantry in Tripoli. We have 4 in Benghazi. And we have 4 in Dern. Now, Dern, I think in the two-player game, you only have 2 and 2 in Benghazi and Dern. So it becomes 4 and 4. And now, basically, historically, what happened is there was a force that was amassed with kind of a local Arab leader. And what you'll see is that force starts in Alexandria and then kind of marches across Tripolitania. There we go. It's going to march across Tripolitania. So we're going to want to basically start in Alexandria and then kind of move through from Dern to Benghazi to Tripoli. And they're going to have American support because we allied ourselves with that Arab tribe that comes in to basically try to put a squash on Tripolitania. We also have this harbor here of Malta. Malta is kind of like a deployment zone, so to speak, for American frigates and American gunships. You'll see that. So we have the red circles which represent Tripolitania. We have the blue circles which represent like American strongholds, and then we have these yellow circles which again are the allies or potential allies, I should say, of Tripolitania. At the beginning of the game, the American players are going to set out 3 cards specifically. They're also going to get a supply of 12 coins. If the Tripoli player ever gets all 12 of our coins, we lose. Things got way too expensive for us to be in the region, and it's just a mess. So we need to be careful that we don't lose all of our coins to the Tripoli player. But we do have these 3 events that just start out. This does not count against our hand limit. Our hand limit is 8. So the 3 cards that start out are Thomas Jefferson, move up to 8 American frigates, resolve any battles that result. We have Hammett's Army created, playable if it is the spring of 1804 or later. So we have 1801, 1802, 1803, 1804, 1805, 1806. And then we have in each of those years, spring, summer, fall, winter. Those are the seasons. Ooh, if we're in a spring of 1804 or later, we can play Hammett's Army created. Now, this is similar to what's the game, like I think like Twilight Struggle Mechanics has this, where like basically if you play a card for its event, it's out of the game. If you play it for a base action, it stays in the game. So if these cards you're going to want to play for their events or not play them at all. Like we'll definitely play these 2. We'll probably play all 3 at some point over the course of this game. So playable if it is spring of 1804 or later, and there is at least 1 American frigate in the harbor of Alexandria. Place 1 Marine and 5 Arab infantry units in the city of Alexandria. So we'll get to that in a couple of years. Swedish frigates arrive. Place 2 Swedish frigates in the naval patrol zone of Tripoli. That was a hard word for some reason. I was struggling with that. Now, the Tripoli player, again, if you're playing in the solo mode, you always play as the Americans. You always play against Tripoli. Now, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the 24 remaining cards for the Americans. We'll draw 6 a year, and then there's some special mechanics for 1805 and 1806. Should be shuffled enough. Let's make sure all 24 are here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Excellent. So the Tripoli player is going to start with a bunch of cards out. Now, 2 of these are reserved only for solo play. Now, one of the things I did see Kevin said in a comment somewhere is that the way he did this in Shores of Tripoli, at least in this edition, I think it's going to be updated in the future editions, is a little awkward. So there should have just been just a total separate deck of cards for solo play. It'd been a lot easier. So there is a lot of cross-referencing between a card, you pull it, you look at the solo card play requirements, which is at the back of the rule book, and then you kind of have to make sure you're doing things right. And there's a bunch of things to remember. Now I'm going to use dice to trigger my memory, and hopefully I don't forget to play these things at the appropriate time. Again, this card is played in 1801. This card is played in 1803, which is why I have a 3 up, although it's a little hard to see in the camera, I think. This can be played in 1801 or 1805, but the triggering condition changes, and then these 2 cards are only played in 1805. I don't think it's going to make sense for me to read all 12 of these cards at the start, but notice there are certain things that will trigger. We'll see these 2 in 1801 for sure. But what I will say is when we get to the Tripoli player's turn, we're going to see if any of these events are carried out in order. So we're going to see, hey, is it time to play Murad Rice breaks out? Is it time to play Constantinople sends aid? Now, this is going to be a late game play. If we take over Dern, or when we take over Dern more likely, then we will play this card on the next Tripoli player's turn. This card will be played if Tripoli starts getting allies on the board. If they have 2 allies in 1801 through 1804, we're going to play it then. If it's 1 ally in 1805 or 1806, then we'll play it then. This card in 1803, the first turn of 1803, Tripoli player is going to play that card as Sweden pays tribute. And then we have the 5 Corsair check. Now, the 5 Corsair check is kind of like the default event. So basically, if we go through these 4 events and nothing happens, well, what's Tripoli going to do in their turn? Every player has 1 action on their turn, you and the AI. If there are 5 Corsairs in Tripoli, they are going to do a pirate raid. And then there's going to be intervention rolls. Interception rolls? I think it's intervention rolls. What is it called? It is interception roll. We'll do an interception roll if we have any frigates there, and then you'll kind of see how that plays out. And then over here is the raid or build card. This is like another default card. A lot of the cards we draw from the Tripoli player's deck will tell us, hey, just discard it and do a raid or build. And again, I'll explain all that as we go instead of overwhelming you with information. Brian Skolnick says Libya is easier to say than Tripolitania. I agree, especially at 11 a.m. with my schedule, which is not exactly an adult schedule. I will be absolutely upfront about that. But whoever wanted to grow up. All right, this is going to go. Whoa, I don't know what just happened to my voice. I don't know if that came through on the camera, but I hope not. Let's go here. So we're going to put some other stuff out. We start with 4? Is it 5? Is it 4 or 5? I bragged about how much I knew this. The T-Bot. It's the T-Bot. I will say the T-Bot. The T-Bot places 2 Corsairs in the harbor of Gibraltar. I got that. 5. It is 5 in Tripoli. I was like, is it 4 or 5? I think it's 4 in the normal game, but it is 5 in Tripoli. And 4, 4, and 4. All right, we set up its row of cards correctly. So I think with that, setup looks complete. We can just go to the first year. So 1801 is the first year. Notice I have 3 frigates here. Those frigates I'm going to earn when we get to that year. Any frigates from the Americans will just go into the harbor of Gibraltar. It's natural. It's the entry point into the Mediterranean Sea. Now, we are going to draw 6 cards. Our 6 cards are going to be Hamet recruits Bedouins. Now, these count against our hand limit. Remember, the events that start out on the table do not. So, Hamet recruits Bedouins, playable if Hamet's army has been created. Place 2 additional Arab infantry with Hamet's army. Tribute paid. Move 1 American frigate to the harbor of an active ally of Tripoli, Algiers, Tangier, or Tunis. Return all of the Corsairs from the harbor to the supply. The Tripolitan player receives 2 gold coins. We have here Preble's Boys Take Aim. So we're getting a lot of late game cards early, which isn't amazing, but we should be okay. Preble's Boys Take Aim, playable during a naval battle in a harbor. Each American frigate may roll 3 dice instead of 2. If played during the assault on Tripoli, only roll the extra dice in the first round of the naval battle. We have naval movement, good card to get early. There's a few naval movements in the deck, so it's always nice to have one. This allows us to move up to 4 American frigates, resolve any battles that result. We have another naval movement card. All right, well, don't need any more of those. And then we have Constantinople demands tribute. The Tripolitan player must return 2 gold coins to the supply. So we only draw 6. We would check our hand limit. Obviously, we only drew 6 cards. We don't have 8. We're good there. And now we can go ahead and play it. Now, I thought about getting the card holder out. So it just wasn't going to work, I don't think, with the spacing I wanted for this game. So, it is what it is. You're just going to have to listen to my dulcet tones as I read off all these cards and tell you what they do. So the American player is going to go first. American player always goes first at every season. I think that's even in a 2-player game, but it's definitely true in the solo game. And basically, we have 3 options. We can play a card for its event. If the card's like a special or unique event, or it's one of our starting events, then it comes out of the game. If it's just like, hey, it doesn't have like the red writing at the bottom of it, then it will just go in the discard pile, which I'll put there. It'll just kind of keep it on camera that way, and I think that'll be good. So none of these 5 cards would we lose if we played for the event. This card we would lose if we played it for the event, but I assure you I'm not going to want to play that early. If we don't want to play the card for its event, we can play the card to move 2 frigates. When we move frigates, we can also, if we're doing a bombardment or there's a naval battle, whatever, we can also choose to use we can move any gunboats that we have, and we'll see how we earn gunboats. Well, that's the other way. The other thing we can do with our cards, we can discard it to earn a gunboat. Gunboats will always be in Malta, and after there's a battle in a harbor or in a naval patrol zone, but actually, it's always, the way I play at least, is always just going to be in a harbor. After that battle, the gunboats that survive will just go back to the harbor of Malta. So that will work out pretty well for us, or at least it should. I could do that. No. So what am I going to do is I'm going to play the naval movement card. And now when I move a frigate, I can decide to move it into a naval patrol zone, or I can move it into a harbor. If you move it into a harbor, guess what? You're going to battle if there are any ships that are not, on your side, so to speak. So I'm going to play naval movement to move up to 4 ships. I'm going to move 1 from the harbor of Gibraltar into the naval patrol zone. naval patrol zone of Gibraltar, and I'm going to move 2 from the harbor of Gibraltar into the naval patrol zone of Tripoli. So they're just going to chill there. We're going to do the first turn of the T-bot. Now, the T-bot is going to look at their first event, move 2 Tripolitan Corsairs from the harbor of Gibraltar. Well, when are we going to play that? We're going to play if there are no frigates in the naval patrol zone of Gibraltar, or it is the winter of 1801. Well, it's only the spring, so it's not the winter, and there is a frigate in the harbor of Gibraltar. So those dudes are not going to move. However, in the winter, what's going to happen is they're going to move to the from the harbor of Gibraltar to the harbor of Tripoli. So basically, these guys are going to come in here and basically bolster the T-bot presence in Tripoli. So we're going to keep that guy there and kind of leave them stuck over there for a little bit. Now, and basically any frigates I have there will be able to do an interception roll when they leave Gibraltar, and we'll see how that works in a little bit, obviously. But for now, this is not going to be played. Again, this is going to be played late game after we take over Dern, so we're not going to worry about that. There are no allies for Tripoli right now, so we're going to skip over this event. Sweden pays tribute. It's not 1803, so we're going to skip over this event. So we're going to do the 5 Corsair check. If there are 5 or more Corsairs in the harbor of Tripoli, Tripoli performs a pirate raid. Now, the pirate raid is a little bit, it's not, like, there's no tokens that represent merchant ships. It's a little bit abstracted, which is fine. I mean, all games have some level of abstracting, but in theory, what's happening is these pirates are like, we're going on a raid. That's how they talk. It's a very strange thing historically. No one really totally understands it. Scholars are still trying to figure out how that started, but these guys are going to go out for a pirate raid. And now, since I have dudes in the naval patrol zone, they're like, oh, look at those pirates. They're up to no good. They're making trouble in the neighborhood. So they're going to try to stop them from going out. One of the jarring things about this game for me when I first started to play it, I've just gotten used to it and kind of gotten used to the math and the odds of it, and it kind of works itself out. Again, this is pretty common to a lot of games, not just this game, is that you literally only hit on a 6, except for a few situations if you have a few cards in play. So each frigate is going to roll 2 dice. So I'm rolling 4 dice total. Advanced math for you all. I'm going to now try to kill at least one of these Corsairs, hopefully 2 if I roll really lucky, but it is me, so unlikely. So I'm going to roll 4 dice and try to knock out some of these Corsairs. I rolled a 1, 3, 4, 4, so I knocked out exactly 0 Corsairs. So the Corsairs are like, haha, you tried to hit me and you stink, sucker, so we're going to go and do our pirating, and that'll be fine. So we're going to do Happy Hunting, playable when making a pirate raid with the Tripolitan Corsairs. So we play this. When do we play Happy Hunting? We're going to go to the solitaire card play requirements, play on the first Tripolitan pirate raid. So they're going to play this right now. So we discard that card because they're playing that event. So they're going to roll 1 for each Corsair, and now they're adding 3 because of the Happy Hunting card. So now they're rolling 8 dice, and they're going to steal 1 of my gold coins on a 5 or a 6. So they actually get the benefit of hitting on a 5 as well. A really ridiculous roll here could make this game super, super hard. So we'll see what happens. They rolled 2 6s. So no 5s, 2 6s. They get 2 gold coins. Look at those pirates go. Bam. And we're going to take these 8 dice off the board. Now remember, they're normally only going to be rolling 5. They rolled 8 because of that Happy Hunting card, which gave them some extra dice to roll. We now go to the summer event. Now what do I want to do? Well, I'm going to say I need to get some extra activity. Oh, and by the way, so after they go out and they pirate, even more stuff. Don't forget, so since they had a successful raid, they're now going to play Merchant Ship Converted. They play on the first successful Tripolitan pirate raid. They're going to play, place 1 Tripolitan Corsair in the harbor of Tripoli. So they're actually going to get another Corsair. So I defeated 0 of them. 5 of them went out, 5 of them came back, and now they added a 6 because they basically took one of those merchant ships that they got, took all those goodies and said, hey, join our side. Look at those guys. They can't even kill us at all. And they're like, great, that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to sign up to become a Tripolitan pirate. Why not? So now we have 6 Corsairs in the harbor of Tripoli. Remember, these 2 Corsairs are just waiting for their opportunity to try to join in the fun. So now we go to summer. So again, we already went through 2 of these events. I know I keep going back and forth. We went through 2 of these events. There's 4 special events that are out on the table that will be played in the upcoming years, and then we still have these 6 these 4 basic events, and then these 2 like kind of default actions that we'll see it play more and more. So now we go to summer. I'm like, well, I clearly need some help because now we have 6 Corsairs. I defeated 0. Who can I call? Well, who are you going to call? Sweden, clearly. So we're going to play the Swedish frigates arrive, and we're going to place 2 Swedish frigates in the naval patrol zone of Tripoli. After playing this card as an event, remove it from the game. Bye-bye. And we have 2 Swedish frigates who are like, hey, we'll help y'all. We're like, great, thanks. It's going to be super awesome. I appreciate the teamwork. And now we're going to go ahead and just chill there and wait for our next opportunity to knock some Corsairs into the Mediterranean Sea. So in the summer of 1801, we now go to the T-Bot's turn. T-Bot's going to go through all their events. Again, none of these apply. And they're going to do their 5 Corsair check. There are 6 Corsairs here, so they're going to perform a pirate raid. We're coming out, trying to get some more merchants. It was super fun. And now we're going to roll our dice. We're going to get 4 dice for the 2 Swedish ships, and we're going to get 4 dice for the 2 American ships. Again, frigates roll 2 dice each, so we're rolling 8 dice. Hopefully, we get at least 1 6 this time. A 6 would be great. I rolled 0 6s. That's going to have to stop. It's not great. Now, Sweden is more there as like a hall monitor. They will not participate in any naval battles. They're really just there to try to make the trade in the region kind of chill. But my early rolling has been not great. So this could be a problem. So the Corsairs are going to be like, well, we're all still alive. We're all going to roll a die. And let's see how much gold we can get. Whoop, that was not a 5 or a 6. I should have left it and said that counted, but it doesn't. They get a 5 and a 6. So they get 2 more of my gold. They're up to 4. And we've got a little bit of a problem brewing. So hopefully we can start rolling better. And these guys are like, haha, nanny nanny foo foo. We go back to our home base. We go to fall. Woof. Now, I could like try to like do a naval battle. That seems a little excessive. I'm not happy that I'm losing so much gold, so I'm going to play Constantinople Demands Tribute. So this is, again, my fall action in 1801, and try not to keep putting that under my face. So the Tripolitan player must return 2 gold coins to the supply, because Constantinople, when he says, hey, give me my money, you got to give it to him. Or, I know, it's a city, but, you know, my story's a lot better. And don't let facts get in the way of a good story. So this is not an event that you have to discard from the game when you play it. So I will have that in the future. It might be necessary the way this is playing out so far. And now we go to the T-Bot's 3rd turn. So they're playing their fall card. What are they going to do? None of these events apply. We now go to the 5 Corsair check. Still 6 of these suckers on the board. So they're going to come out and try to do a raid. I hopefully will start rolling a 6 or 2 or 4. I mean, 4 would be amazing. I'm going to try to do an interception roll. I'm going to keep saying intervention, but if I say intervention, no, I mean interception. I rolled a 6. It's possible, people. I did it. Woo! We killed a Corsair. It goes back to the supply. And the other 5 are like, yeah, dude, but there's 5 more of us. And I'm like, yes, I know. Baby steps, we're getting there. And we're going to roll these 5 dice. Another pirate raid. Don't kill me. Oh, 3 gold. Great. That's fantastic. So now they have 5 of my 12 gold. Woof. Okay. That's a problem. And the rest of them are going to come back here. Now, the fact that there's so many Corsairs here does mean that they're not going to go through their deck as much, but it also means I'm going to have to probably get that Constantinople Demands Tribute card back sooner rather than later, because we got some issues brewing. All right, so we're going to go to the winter of, what are we at? 1801. Oh, man, I'm tempted to do a naval battle. I'm tempted to do a naval battle. I have not done a naval battle in a while. 1805. Naval bombardment. The problem is if I do a naval battle, then I'm not doing any interception rolls. The math is just really bad for these naval battles, man. And then my frigates. Well, I know they're playing this next turn, right? So maybe it's not the craziest idea. I just haven't done it. I haven't had to use this strategy in a few games. Yeah, I know they're not doing an interception roll. I really want to try to knock out some of these Corsairs. So let's YOLO it. So I'm going to play naval bombardment. I'm going to move up to 4 American frigates. So I'm going to move these 3 that I have on the board. I'm going to move them into the harbor of Tripoli. How exciting! So we're just doing a naval battle. And naval combat occurs when American ships move into a harbor containing enemy ships. The 2 exceptions are the harbor of Gibraltar and the Tripolitan Corsairs coexist. Or the American active card, a show of force or tribute paid. So, am I going to play any battle cards? I am. Maybe? Preble's Boys Take Aim isn't crazy to play now. Sure, why not? I'll get this out of the game. There's other cards I'm going to want, and this will kind of, help some things. So, playable during a naval battle in the harbor, each American frigate may roll 3 dice instead of 2. And I could say I usually play that for the assault on Tripoli at the end, but desperate times here. I've lost a lot of gold. I really want to start limiting these Corsairs. So now I'm going to roll 3 dice instead of 2. So I'm going to have 9 dice because I have 3 frigates there. So I'll take 1 of these yellow dice. Sweden's like, yeah, we're here to help, but we're not exactly the naval combat type of people, and I totally get it. That's fine. You guys be pacifists. And now we're going to attack. So in a battle, we're rolling dice at the same time. So it's not like when I interception roll, I can basically sink a Corsair before it actually pirate raids. Here it's like, nope, we're rolling at the same time. So I'm going to roll my 9 dice. The Tree-bot's going to roll their 5 dice because they have 5 Corsairs here. And please give me some 6s. I didn't roll a single 6. Woof. It's the camera, man. I was not having these problems off camera. All right, so they got 1 hit. Wow, that was such a garbage roll. So they have 1 hit, so that's going to injure my frigate, and that frigate is now going to end up on the next year's track. So I can allocate the hit. Each roll of a 6 is a hit. If a gunboat or a Corsair takes 1 hit, it sinks, but the frigate takes 2 hit. If otherwise it's damaged, it could put on the following year turn track. If it's the last year, then it just comes out of the game. So I'm rolling special sort of wonderful for this playthrough. What else is new? Like I seriously was not having any of these issues in my last few games of this. But here we are. And now this took part of the naval battle. They're like, well, that was fun. We're not going to stay in the harbor right now. We're going to go chill in Malta. So that's where they have to be. And now we go to the T-bot's turn. So again, they only hit me once. If they hit me twice, I could have injured 2 frigates and put them both on there. So it is what it is. But now they're going to play the Morad Reyes breaks out. We're going to move the 2 Tripolitan Corsairs from the harbor of Gibraltar to the harbor of Tripoli. Bam, so now we have 7 Corsairs there. If I had left my frigate there instead of trying to do a naval battle, which clearly was super, super helpful, I would have been able to do an interception roll. As it left Gibraltar, I would have rolled 2 dice. I basically decided to roll 3 dice here instead of 2 dice there. I hit on a 6 either way. It didn't go very well. It is what it is, but that event just comes out of the game, and that is the T-bot's turn. So we now go to the next year. Boom, back to spring, 1802. I don't know why I have this there. It's supposed to be there. It's fine. And now we get the 2. What did I do? Yeah, we get the. Yeah, we got. All right, I took that off there. We get the 2 things from here. They go to the harbor of Gibraltar. The one that was injured is now totally healed. And now we're going to draw 6 cards. So we still keep these cards in our hand. So we get Hammett, Recruits, Bedouins, and Tribute Paid. To that, we're going to add Burn the Philadelphia. Burn the Philadelphia, playable if there is at least 1 Tripolitan frigate in the harbor of Tripoli. Roll 1 die and apply the result. Now you notice in this apply, there are only 2 T-bot frigates, so there's not going to be the chance for them to get many frigates, but it could definitely happen. Oh, and they can definitely start sinking our frigates. If they sink 4 over the course of the game, that's another way that the T-bot wins. The Marine Sharpshooters, playable to start of a land battle. All Marine infantry units hit on a roll of 5 or a 6 each round of combat. Naval movement, so we can move 4 frigates around the board. General Eaton attacks Dern. Move Hamet's army from Alexandria to Dern. Move up to 3 American frigates to the harbor of Dern. Resolve the battle for Dern. And then launch the Intrepid. Roll 1 die. Apply the result. The raid is a failure. No effect. 1 Tripolitan Corsair is sunk on a 3 or a 4. So the raid is a failure. No effect on a 1 or a 2. 3 or 4. 1 Tripolitan Corsair is sunk. And on a 5 or a 6, 1 Tripolitan frigate is sunk. Now, the Intrepid was an American ship at the time, did some cool things. And then we have Lieutenant, or, depending on your view of history, I guess, Lieutenant Sherbert in pursuit, playing when making an interception roll. Each American frigate may roll 3 dice instead of 2. This could be hugely important, so I'm glad I got this. I have 8 cards in my hand total, so I don't have to discard anything. I'm going to put aside cards that I know I'm going to want later. Attacking Dern for sure. I'm going to need to keep this around if Tripoli ever gets a ally. And this should all work. All right, so in the spring of 1802, I want to load up as many American frigates here. Tripoli is looking like a serious issue, and again, those pirates have already taken 5 of my gold, and they're likely to get 2 more when Sweden leaves. One thing I haven't done at all yet, which is making me a little nervous, is I haven't created any gunboats. Gunboats can be a hugely important way to help the numbers get on your side in this game. So I'm going to play naval movement. I'm going to move 4 frigates. Now, again, it's not a special event, so it doesn't come out of the game. And I'm moving 4 frigates. The 2 that were in Malta from the naval battle last turn, I'm going to move into the harbor, the naval patrol zone of Tripoli. And then the 2 that were in the harbor of Gibraltar that, again, came off the year track, I'm going to put in the naval patrol zone of Tripoli. ID Jester, we are going on a raid. Sing it, Greg. Malte says, these are some jolly pirates. I see them pirates doing an epic dance while singing their hearts out. What a movie it would make. Good luck, Greg. We'll kiss the Reds later, says Brian. Let's go back to work. Have a great day and a great weekend, sir. Appreciate you always showing up around here. And Malte, who doesn't want to be robbed by singing dancing pirates? I would join them too. Excellent. Oh boy. All right, let's make this happen. I don't know. I'm assuming some of that goes to back when I was talking about the pirate, the merchant ship being converted over. All right. So I am just chilling there. That was the American turn, and now we go to the T-Bot's turn. Again, Constantinople sends aid doesn't apply. Yesef Karamanli does not apply. Sorry if I butchered that at all. And then we have Sweden pays tribute. It's not 1803 yet, so that card doesn't get paid. So 5 Corsair check. Well, we have 7 of these suckers. So here we go. Let's try to do better this time. Be better, kids. Be better. I am going to roll 2 dice per frigate, so that's going to be, at this point, 12 dice. We have 4 dice for the 2 Swedish ships, and we have 8 dice for the American ships, but we have more excitement in store. We're going to play the Lieutenant Sterrett in pursuit. Playable when making an interception roll. Each American frigate may roll 3 dice instead of 2. Well, no time better to play it than now. So I'm going to add 4 more dice. I'm just going to use the Swedish dice, so I have a total of 16 dice. Notice the Swedish frigates do not get an extra die. It's only the American frigates, so that's going to be 12 dice for the Americans, 4 for the Swedish. That's 16. And I would really like 5 sixes. So we're due for a splash of 6s. Well, asking you shall receive, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's a nice turn. That's a game-saving roll right there, kids. So 4. That was a 1 that was off camera, because of course it was. So these 4 Corsairs are defeated, and we're giving ourselves a chance. It was just 4. It might have. I think one of these flipped. Yeah, I think one of those flipped. It was pretty much just 4. I'm kind of sure of that. If I cheated myself out of 1, that's my own fault. So here we go. The 3 Corsairs that are surviving are going to each roll a die. Again, hopefully they don't get any more of my gold. Nope, they rolled a 5. They now have 6 gold of my 12. And I already played my Constantinople demands tribute card, and then they come back and they're saying, well, there's less of us, but we still were successful. Now, one of the things you got to be nervous about is you don't want to group your American frigates too much, because there are some cards that would be, might get stormy in the near future, and you group your American frigates too much, you are risking that 1 or 2 of them might experience some mechanical failures. So we're going to try to avoid that. So we're going to go to summer. And I am going to, oh man, I also really need to get a gunboat out. Woof. Woof and woof. How do you say woof? Now, no, before we can create our army, we are going to need to have a ship in Alexandria, and sometimes it just helps to just get that done super early. I think I risk it. I just need to get my gunboats out. I just haven't been able to do them at all. So I'm going to actually discard Hammett Recruits Bedouins. Again, I'm using it for its it's one of its alternate effects. I could move 2 frigates. I'm just going to create my first gunboat. I really want to get all 3 of those suckers out as soon as possible. And I'll kind of risk it. I'll risk the stormy weather, people. I'm going to, it's going to be storm, 4 6s. Oh no. I guess they're only rolling 3 dice at this point, so it can't be 4 6s. T-Bot's going to go, this doesn't apply, this doesn't apply, this doesn't apply. 5 Corsair check. Oh, we're only down to 3, so that's totally fine. And now we're going to draw our first T-Bot card off the top of the deck. It's super excited. We have some chats. Is that a pirate beard, Greg? So that's what I'm going for, man. That's my secret plan. I'm gonna be on the sailing the high seas in a couple of months. All right, Tunis declares war. No, I'm not gonna do that voice again. I promise. Tunis declares war. We what are we doing? Play immediately. All right, Tunis declares war. Plays 3 Tunisian corsairs in the harbor of Tunis. And they're going to go there and there. Now notice the Tunisian corsairs, the Moroccan corsairs, so the Tangier corsairs, and the Algiers corsairs are orange, not the red. So that's just played immediately, and that gets removed from the game. Woof. Now I can send those suckers back quick, but that is going to cost me 2 gold, but I think it makes some sense. But I have to be very careful about these pirate raids adding up. Oh, that's going to be 2 gold. That's going to be 2 gold. Yikes. We got gold problems. We have gold problems. I mean, I could bombard them. I mean, I could call. I've never actually had to do a war. I've never done a battle, but I think we might be there. We might be there. Or can I move the Swedish frigates out? Move out the 2 frigates. I'm pretty sure I could just move the 2 Swedish frigates out. Like once they're on the board, I think I can control them as if they're my own. Because if they start the next year here, that's going to be a big problem if I pay the 2 gold now. But I was really, if we're going to go to the fall, by the way. Woof. I just don't like how I'm rolling. I mean, they have 6 money. They got 2 left. Yikes. Yikes and yikes. Now I can save that in a way. There's a card in here that I should be able to get pretty quick. Yeah, I'm gonna do this the safe way. So I'm gonna move 1 American frigate. I'm gonna play tribute paid. Move 1 American frigate to the harbor of an active ally of Tripoli. So Tunis is an active ally. I'm gonna move this dude here. And they're not going to combat because I'm going to basically just, suck up to them and say, oh, we love you. You guys are great, blah, blah, blah. So the Tripolitan player receives 2 gold coins. So really, I gave it to Tunis, but mechanically what this is representing is how expensive this region is getting to America. And if it gets too expensive, they're going to be like, all right, this isn't worth it anymore. So we spent the 2 gold, and we're going to put these suckers back in the supply. So this kind of thing can only happen once in Algiers, only happen once in Tangier, and once in Tunis, just understanding the T-Bot's deck. So we got that one out of the way in Tunis now. Now that is not a card we have to throw away from the game. It just goes in the discard pile. We now go to fall for the T-Bot. So T-Bot's going to look. None of these apply. There are not 5 Corsairs. It's drawing another card. Boom. Troops to Dern. Ugh, that's also kind of gross. So troops to Dern. If Dern is controlled by Tripoli, play immediately. It is controlled by Tripoli. We still have red infantry there. If not, we would do a raid or build action. So we're adding 2 infantry to Dern. So things are getting harder as we go. So to take over Dern, instead of having 4 Tripolitan infantry, we now have 6 to deal with. We're going to go to winter. What are we doing in winter, folks? Good question. All right, I'm going to discard Marine Sharpshooter, and Gunboat or Alexandria. Gunboat or Alexandria. Gunboat, I think, because I'm behind on that, and I'm going to need to do some bombardment of Dern for sure. So I'm going to use that for its basic effect. I'm not using it for its event, so it doesn't come out of the game, and I'm adding a second gunboat to Malta. We only have 3 in our supply. I would definitely like all 3 before I start doing any more naval battles or any more bombardments. And again, you'll see the difference between all of those in probably the next year. So now we go to the winter card for the T-Bot. T-Bot is going to play, again, none of those apply. It only has 3 Corsairs there. So what does it play? It plays Algerine Corsairs Raid. So we go to the solitaire card requirements. What do we do? Discard to perform a raid or build action. So we put this here. So what does raid or build do? This is the first time we've done an actual raid or build action. Super exciting. If a harbor, Algiers, Tangier, Tunis, or Tripoli, has at least 3 Corsairs, check, and more Corsairs than a combination of the American and Swedish frigates, nope, doesn't work, then they're going to do a raid from that harbor. Otherwise, place a Tripolitan Corsair in the harbor of Tripoli. So we're going to take another Corsair. We go from 3 to 4, and this will go here. So that is the end of 1802. We go to 1803. I have this reminder here to remind me that now the Swedish Pays Tribute card is unlocked. That will be played for sure this turn. And we get this dude now in the island of Gibraltar. Because I called up Gibraltar, makes it fast, makes it right. If anybody knows that jingle, I will give this amazing. Because it's been in my head for the last half hour, so I'm not gonna lie. Whoa, my childhood was weird. All right, we're gonna draw 6 cards, and here we go. So these 3 were already in my hand. We have early deployment. Take 1 American frigate for the following year of the year turn track, placed in any naval patrol zone. And not the hugest fan of that card. I'm going to get it eventually anyway. Why do I need to waste a turn to do that now? The Daring Stephen Decatur. Playable if they're either the Burn of the Philadelphia or Launch the Intrepid is the active event card this turn. Roll 2 dice instead of 1 and choose the preferred results. So again, this card, if I played it, normally I'm only rolling 1 die. If I can play that and that, then I can roll 2 and enhance my chances of sinking a Tripolitan frigate, which would be super, super nice. We're going to draw our 3rd card is Corsairs Confiscated. Playable if there are Tripolitan Corsairs in the harbor of Gibraltar. Return all Corsairs from the harbor to the supply and remove the Morad Res breaks out from card from the game. So getting this early is super, super nice. It just unfortunately did not happen for me. General Eaton attacks Benghazi. So we have another ground forces card. Move Hamet's army from Dern to Benghazi. Move the 3 American frigates to the harbor of Benghazi. Resolve the battle for Benghazi. We're going to draw 2 more. We have the assault on Tripoli. This is like a game end card. It's like you win or you lose, so best be ready before you play that card. Playable in the fall of 1805 or later. Move all American frigates and gunboats to the harbor of Tripoli. Move Hamet's army from Benghazi to Tripoli, and or play Send in the Marines. Resolve the assault on Tripoli. So Send in the Marines is another card, which we'll see as we go. And I did not get the card I wanted. I want to get the card that allowed me to play a card from the discard pile and play it immediately. Woof. And then we have playable at the start of a land battle. Select 1 Marine infantry unit to roll 3 dice instead of 4 during each round of combat. So these cards are not what I wanted. I'm going to discard 1 to get down to my hand limit of 8. I'm going to discard the Corsairs Confiscated because there are no more Corsairs there. So it's absolutely useless. And I will just arrange these 8 cards like so. Let me put the Eaton attacks Dern, Eaton attacks Benghazi. That's also, these are all Marines, not that great. And this is an endgame card. Yeah, these are not very good cards for what I need right now. Remember, we only have 4 gold left in our supply, and I think we're about to lose 2 more. So, these are bad cards, is what I'm telling you. There are no such things as bad cards, Greg, just bad players. Yes, that too. All right, we're going to Wolf. Try to save this. I don't think, actually, I don't know if I can move this. That's a good question. Good question, Greg. I'm glad you're asking it. I don't know if I can move the American frigate, the Swedish frigates. Can I move the Swedish frigates? Because if I can, it might make some sense. But I know, like, specifically somebody say move up to 8 American frigates, take 1 American frigate. Does this say American or just frigates? Yeah, 4 American frigates. I'm going to assume I can't move the Swedish frigates. I basically put them on the board to help with the interception rolls, and then while they kill some Corsairs, the downside is eventually they're going to end up giving the T-Bot 2 more gold. So the T-Bot's going to have 10 gold pretty soon, which definitely puts some pressure on. Might be time to raid Tripoli preemptively. I have to limit their pirating. Big time. Big time. Problem is if I raid with all my American ships, I know I will. That's a good point, Greg. Again, I'm making all these good points. I know they're going to be playing Sweden Pays Tribute next turn. So that would move 8. Yeah, there's another card that would give me 2 more ships. Like, my cards have come out in a very unfortunate order. And that's super not great. If I go in with the 5 American ships, I'm rolling 10 dice. I just don't know if it makes sense. I just really can't afford them to raid. Man, these cards are really bad. These cards are really bad. I had dreams of big things this year, and now I have not so dreams of big things. I could do that. It's not ideal. I kind of like playing Burn to Philadelphia with the Daring Steve indicator, because it allows you to sink a frigate maybe, and frigates are pretty nasty. But I think I do it for the Launch the Intrepid and try to sink some Corsairs in Tripoli. So I'm going to play Launch the Intrepid as my first action. So we're in spring of 1803. I'm going to roll a die and apply the result. Oh, the Daring Stephen Decatur comes to the rescue. Playable of either the Burn the Philadelphia or the Launch the Intrepid is the active event card this turn. Roll 2 dice instead of 1 and choose the preferred result. So I'm rolling 2 dice instead of 1. On a 5 or a 6, I get to remove 2 Tripolitan Corsairs, and we'll explain that after I roll. I rolled the 6. Excellent. So the 3 doesn't count. The 6 is good. So normally, 5 or 6, 1 Tripolitan frigate is sunk. If no frigate is available, 2 Tripolitan Corsairs are sunk. And when it's sunk, they just go into the supply. So I think that was excellent. Now, both of those are events that get removed from the game when played. So those suckers are out. That was my first turn. We go to the first turn for Tripoli. Tripoli is like, well, Sweden, you've been helping out these silly Americans. We're gonna ask you to stop doing that. And Sweden's like, oh, okay, sorry, didn't mean to make you upset here. So playable in 1803 or later, and there are Swedish frigates in the naval patrol zone of Tripoli. Return the Swedish frigates to the supply and receive 2 gold coins. So buy Swedish frigates. Hello, 2 gold coins. They're up to 10 of 12, and that's a little scurry. Not gonna lie. So this comes out of the game. That is the T-Bot's turn. Now they only have 2 Corsairs there, so I feel pretty good about that. Hopefully I could just survive to the end of this year and put myself in a better place next year. So we go to summer of 1803. I don't know if you heard that, but that was my dryer. So my dryer wanted to really make an appearance on the channel, clearly. I'm going to play Assault on Tripoli for its basic effect, and that allows me to move 2 frigates. I'm going to move a frigate into Alexandria because I want to get one there set up for next turn, and I'm going to move this frigate from Tunis into Tripoli and set up a nice little force there for an interception roll. Woof. Yeah, I have to get a frigate to Alexandria. I think that makes sense. It's not my favorite thing to do. I really want to start, excuse me, just want to start bombarding Dern. So basically, if I move things into the harbor and um, there are no enemy ships, instead of doing a naval battle, you just do a round of bombardment. And for every 6 you roll, you get rid of one of those infantry. So with 6 infantry there, I really want to limit that before I attack with my own infantry, because my own infantry, they're a little fragile. So that was my turn for the summer of 1803. So we go to the T-Bot's turn. Nothing, nothing. 5 Corsair check, only 2 Corsairs, so they're going to draw the top card of the deck. Bam! Tunisian Corsairs raid. Pirate raid with all the Corsairs in the harbor of Tunis. Well, that's what you would normally do. We're going to go to check our solo play requirements. Discard this to perform a raid or build. We're looking at the raider build. There are not 3 Corsairs there, so we're going to add a Corsair. Bam! That's their turn. We go to fall. In the fall of 1803, what am I going to do? I would like to get my 3rd gunboat out. I think that's going to make me happy. So I'm going to discard Lieutenant O'Bannon, using it for one of its 2 basic effects. Possible basic effects, I should say. I'm going to add my 3rd gunboat. So that's looking a little bit healthier there. And Malta should help me start bombarding the heck out of Dern. We're going to go here. T-Bot's turn. These 2 events don't apply. Remember, we only have 2 left of our starting events. And then we have, again, these 4 like triggered actions, which will come to starting next year. 5 Corsairs, there's only 3 there, so we draw a card. What is it? Troops to Tripoli. Place 2 Tripolitan infantry in the city of Tripoli. So again, we're beefing up all of the Tripolitan strongholds there. That goes away. My turn. Again, that's troops to Tripoli. Want to make sure, yep, play immediately. So that's done. And then my last turn of 1803. I'm just going to discard early deployment. It's a little risky. I think I'd do it. It's super risky, though. I could do at a battle here in Dern and start trying to limit those suckers. But there's 3 Corsairs there, so they do a raid or a build action. These would raid. Again, I only have 2 gold there. But I'm gonna do it. So early deployment, I'm gonna discard for a basic effect. I'm gonna move to, I could just move 1 frigate. I just roll 2 less dice. I think that's smarter. Yeah, I'm going to move 1 frigate here along with the 3 gunboats that are in Malta. Whenever you deploy for a bombardment roll, you can move as many Malta gunships as you have into the battle with you. I wanted to leave 3 here because there's 3 Corsairs there, and I really don't want to risk them raiding, because if they raid, yeah, I'd be rolling 4 dice to try to intercept them, but obviously you've seen how I've been rolling today. And if they get 2 more gold, the game would be over. So what are we going to do in a raid? Basically, I just have naval bombardment. Naval bombardment occurs when American ships move into a harbor containing no enemy ships, but the city has Tripolitan infantry. This primarily happens in the harbors of Dern and Benghazi, but on rare occasions can happen in Tripoli. It lasts 1 round. Each frigate rolls 2 dice. Each gunboat rolls 1. So I'm rolling 7 dice because I have 3 gunboats and 2 frigates. And I'm going to eliminate an infantry on rolls of a 6. So it would be nice if I can just start cutting this army down to size a little bit. I rolled 2 6s. That's a good roll. We get this down to 4. And now at the end of that one, oops, I cheated. Man, I screwed that up. Nope. I only had 1 frigate, and I think, again, my logic still remains. So stop cheating, Greg. I'm going to have to re-roll that. and see if I get any sixes. Booyah! And no sixes. 3 5s and 2 2s. Yikes. That goes there. So I accomplished nothing. Woof. That was bad. It was a bad time to miscalculate. So all those suckers survive, and there's still 6 dudes in Dern. We go to the winter card for Tripoli. They're going to draw a card. And I put it. Oh. I should have I should have brought the 2 and risked it, because now Morocco declares war, so they're actually not doing a raid card. What they're going to do is play this immediately and put 3 Moroccan corsairs in the city of Tangier. Hello to Tangier. All right, well, welcome to Tangier. Anyone who's a Dan Le Batard fan will know I have a special connection with Tangier in my heart. We're gonna go to 1804. This sucker comes out. This goes back to spring. We draw our last 6 cards, and what are they? We have Bainbridge Supplies, Intel. Take any card from the American discard pile and either place it in hand and play it immediately, or either place it in hand or play it immediately. Naval movement, move up to 4 American frigates. A treaty card, play in the fall of 1805 or later if the cities of Algiers, so we would win fall of 1805 or later, so we're still in 1804. If the cities of Algiers, Tangier, and Tunis are all at peace, the city of Dern has been captured, and there are no Tripolitan frigates in the harbor of Tripoli. Now, as soon as we take over Dern, there will be a Tripolitan frigate in the harbor of Tripoli, so we have to be a little careful about that. And again, I've already burned one of my major ways of eliminating that frigate without a naval combat. Again, when I played what was that card? I played the Launch the Intrepid because I had to eliminate some Corsairs. Send in the Marines, playable if the Assault on Tripoli is the active event card this turn. Play 3 Marine infantry units in the city of Tripoli. A show of force, move 3 American frigates to the harbor of an active ally of Tripoli. Return all Corsairs from the harbor to the supply. And Congress authorizes action. Place 2 American frigates in the following year of the year turn track. Yes, I've been waiting for you. Treaty is probably the least useful to me, so I'm going to just discard that, put that in the discard pile. And now we have to figure out how to try to save this game a little bit. Woof. Woofty woof. Woof woof. Show of force. Show of force is risky. I need to get some money back into my supplies. So I'm going to play Bainbridge Supplies Intel. Take any card from the American discard pile. What am I going to take? Well, I think Constantinople is a little eager for some tribute. Why not? So they're going to make the Tripolitan player return 2 gold coins to the supply. So we're back to 4. And that just goes back on top of the discard pile. Again, that is not a card that has to come out of the game. Oh, man, but if they raid... Three. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So we're going to put this back. I changed my mind. I'm going to play a show of force. I'm going to move 3 American frigates. Man, because I'm risking it either way, but at least I think better odds this way. I'm going to move 3 American frigates to the harbor of Tangier. So instead of having to suck up to them with money this time and like, oh, okay, we'll go away, I show a force there. These suckers go back to the supply. So it's kind of like a weird choice, right? Like I could have, and now they're just stuck there for now. So I left Tripoli vulnerable, like which is what I didn't want to do last turn, which the last turn of the last year, which is why I show of force. This is in the discard pile, but I'm going to take it out next turn if I'm still alive. So what I didn't want to do last turn was leave Tripoli vulnerable, but this turn I'm like, well, if they play a raid card, those 3 ships are leaving Tangier to do a pirate raid. So like it's pick your poison at this point. So do I want those 3 ships to try to raid or these 3 ships? At least here I have the chance of an interception roll, but the other way I would have 2 money back in the supply. Like it just, there's really no great choice. So hopefully they just don't do a raider build again, and these suckers will stay there. And so we go to the first turn for the Tripoli player. So the Tripoli player, again, in 1805, if they have 1 ally, they would play this. We're still in 1804, so they need 2 allies. That's going to be impossible now because I've already taken care of the ally in Tunis, and I've already taken care of the ally in Tangier. Was it Tunis, or did I take care of the ally in Algiers? I think it was Algiers. Tunis? No, it was Algiers. Nope. I lied. What? It was Tunis. Yeah, so I did Tunis, and now there is one more card where they could put 3 of these suckers in Algiers. I'll have to deal with that then. Constantinople sends aid. We have not taken over Dern yet, not even close. 5 Corsair check, nothing there. We draw the top card. It is the Tunisian Corsairs raid. So here is the potential end of the game. This is what I was afraid of last turn. We got it this turn. Discard to perform a raid or build action. Well, we're doing a raid action, and we're doing it with the raider build card. There are 3 Corsairs here. There's more than American frigates, so they are going out for a raid. Now I'm rolling 4 dice. Hopefully I can cut one of these guys down to side and help my odds a little bit. Nope, I rolled 0 6s. They're rolling 3 dice, 2 5s and 2 6s, and game is over. They rolled 1 6. I have 1 money left. So sick. We're still alive, people. That's correct. I'm rolling really crispy. And then they come back saying, haha, we're on the verge of winning. Now, summer. Now I'm going to play that card, get the Constantinople card, and I'm going to get 2 gold back and kind of prolong this a little bit. We go to Tripoli's turn in summer. Again, none of this applies. Still only 3 Corsairs there. Bam. The Philadelphia runs aground. So we go to our little solo card play requirements. If there is a frigate in the naval zone of Tripoli, play immediately. Otherwise, add to the end of the event card line and draw another. We do have a frigate in the naval patrol zone of Tripoli, and when we play this, we're also going to play Uncharted Waters. This is one of their 4 triggering cards that they had left. Playable if the Philadelphia runs aground card at the active event card this turn. Roll 2 dice instead of 1 and choose the preferred result. So we're rolling 2 Tripoli dice. If I roll a 1 or a 2, minor damage, move an American frigate to the harbor of Malta. That would be fantastic. 3 or 4, the frigate is sunk. And then 5 or 6, frigate is captured. Take the American frigate as sunk and place 1 Tripolitan frigate in the harbor of Tripoli instead. That's not great. Booyah! I rolled a 5! Of course I did. So, this is sunk. They captured it. So this counts as 1 of the 4. If they get 3 more of these, they're going to win the game, and they're going to get a frigate that is going to be added into the harbor of Tripoli, which is not great. Oh, this is not looking good. We go to fall. At least we've kind of bought ourselves some time. These 2 cards have come out of the game, by the way. I mean, I could just put them. The Tripoli player never shuffles the discard pile, so whether it comes out of the game or if it would just normally go in the discard pile, I can just kind of do all of that there, which is fine. But we have our work cut out for ourselves at this point for sure. Woof. So it's fall. I need to protect myself in Tripoli. So I'm going to play naval movement, and I'm going to move these frigates into Tripoli where they can be more useful. We go to the T-Bot's turn. None of this stuff applies. The Tripoli card. Algerine Corsairs raid. Pirate raid with all Corsairs from the harbor of Algiers. But nope, we go to the T-Bot. Discard to perform a raider build. We're looking at the raider build requirements. There are still 3 Corsairs there, but I have 4 frigates, so they're not going to raid. Instead, they're just going to build a 4th Corsair. We go to winter. I'm going to play Congress authorizes action. Congress is like, we've had enough of this crap. This dude from solo playthroughs is messing this up. We're going to place 2 American frigates on the following year track. We definitely need some reinforcements after one of our dudes got captured. So I still have not even created my army. Woof. Might have to try to win this by treaty. But I still need to capture Dern for that to even be a possibility. All right, so these guys are going to go into the 1804 track. 1805, it's like 1804. It's just a year later. What are we doing? We're going to take this. Bam! Moroccan Corsairs raid. We're going to, again, discard this to do a builder raid action. Same analysis, blah, blah, blah. We're going to add another Corsair. Again, they had 4 Corsairs, but I still had 4 frigates. So now they're going to start raiding again next time because we'll do the 5 Corsair check. And indeed, they do have 5. We go to 1805. I get my last 2 frigates for the game. We're going to take this stone off here because now that shows me that these suckers are now unlocked. So what's unlocked? Playable after an interception roll that includes an American frigate. Randomly draw 1 card from the American player's hand and place that card in the discard pile. And we also have the Guns of Tripoli. If I do a naval battle in Tripoli, they're going to add just 12 extra dice in the 12 extra dice. If it's during the assault of Tripoli battle card, then they would only roll the 12 extra dice for the first round of battle. But yeah, it's a lot of extra dice, kids. It's not great. Not great at all. All right, so 1805, spring. What's going to happen? Well, I have no more cards in my draw pile, so I'm going to reconstitute a draw pile by shuffling all of my discarded cards. Is that a pirate beer? Grace Zach. These cards look pretty sweet. Table Hawk? Nah, not really. Only hit on a 6. Not a game for me. Yeah, it's a little rough, man. I've gotten used to it, but and it's, you know, it's a thing. I wish it was a little bit more mitigatable at times. Why did I not get notification for this? Boost, Saget. I mean, it's early for you, man. You told me that. Oh, you're not going to be happy with me, Saget. I'm going to start at like 10 a.m. for my Krang playthrough of Take 3 of Volcarious Quest next week. Sorry, I have a flight to catch. So 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Krang's an early riser. People don't realize that about Krang, is that he really likes to get up and get out. I mean, early bird catches the worm, all of that stuff. Krang is the master of that stuff. Woof. All right. Things are not going well. I haven't created my army. We got some problems. It's been crazy. I have 3 gold, though, so I managed to survive. I mean, there's that. We're kind of cutting this sucker close. A lot of my recent games, I've been pretty much able to win in 1805. So I've had severe control over Dern, severe control over Benghazi. Or at least controller. I would have captured Dern by now for sure. So this is very much behind the 8 ball. We do have 1 frigate to deal with, which does make it interesting. I mean, the treaty win would be an interesting way to go. I don't think I've ever won this game by treaty, to be honest. All right, let's battle it out, kids. I guess R would be the other side of the thing, but that's fine. A show of force. Move 3 American frigates to the harbor of an active ally of Tripoli. Return all of the Corsairs from the harbor to the supply. That's nice. We have Marine sharpshooters playable at the start of a land battle. All Marine infantry units hit on a 5 or a 6. Early deployment. That's a absolute useless card, which I'll absolutely be discarding. Corsairs confiscated. Absolute useless. We'll be discarding that. The Lieutenant abandoned leads his charge. Playable at the start of a land battle. Select 1 military infantry unit to roll 3 extra dice. 3 dice instead of 1, and then our 1, 2, 3, 4. Man, math is so hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1 more card. Treaty. I will keep that in my hand for sure. Well, maybe. The U.S. signal books overthrown might have something to say about that. These cards are just going to get discarded, and now we go to our spring action. Woof. We haven't had any storms yet. I don't even have the time to try to sink that frigate. Oof, what do I want to discard? Yeah, I mean, I just don't have the time to burn the Philadelphia. I have to create. I have to create an army. I just have a lot to do. So I'm going to discard, burn the Philadelphia to move 2 frigates. Let's get 2 more frigates in here and make a huge interception roll. And hopefully kill some things. Woof, that's going to be bad. You'll see why in a second. So, all right, so we go to spring. None of these apply. 5 Corsair check. I mean, neither of these 2 should apply. Neither of these 2 apply is what I was trying to say. I think I just made up some words, which is fine. We're going to go to 5 Corsair check. There are 5 Corsairs. They're going to come out into the naval patrol zone of Tripoli. I'm rolling 12 dice because I have 6 frigates. It's a frigate bonanza. So I have 8 blue dice, 4 yellow dice. I would like 5 6s, please. And, well, 3 will play. That's for sure. So these 3 go out. The 2 survivors are going to roll a dice. I would like to not roll any 5s or 6s. I rolled 1 6. Woof, that's gross. So they have 10 of my gold again. So Constantinople demanding tribute again has been important. And then these 2 come back. So they shouldn't do a raid for quite a while. There's only 2 suckers there, so I have a little bit of breathing room. So we're going to go to summer. I'm going to play This card, Hamet's army created, playable for the spring of 1804 or later. It's a lot later, by the way. And then if there's at least one American frigate in the harbor of Alexandria, place 1 Marine and 5 Arab infantry in Alexandria. And this card comes out of the game. So we get this Marine, we get these 5 Arab infantry. It was 5, right? Yes, and now they're chilling, and they're looking at this very daunting force, which is facing us in Dern. Interesting. Oh, I forgot to do one thing. Yep, I should have done this. So U.S. signal books overboard. When I played that interception roll, it is 1805, so this would totally trigger. We're going to roll a die. Now I have 7 cards in my hand, and the card of the corresponding, I'm going to just roll a die. So the number I roll, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, I'm going to take that card and it goes immediately into my discard pile, which can be a little rough. I rolled a 1. Ooh, General Eaton attacks Dern is out. No, that's bad. I can get it back next turn, that's fine, but flexibility, it's got a little bit less flexible. So this card comes out of the game. I'll just put it in the discard pile. It doesn't really matter. So that was like a triggered thing immediately. So that it's considered a battle card. Wolf. All right. So we did my summer event already, right? Yeah, I created the army. So now we're doing the summer event for Tripoli. Neither of those two apply. We're going to draw a card. Troops to Benghazi. Playable, Hamet's army has not captured Benghazi, so Benghazi just got a lot more crowded. So we have 6, 6, and 6. I think treaty is going to have to be the way we win the game, and since that's the case, we're going to have to find a way to destroy that frigate. But I have to get Dern. Ugh. And there's going to be another frigate there too. Ugh. Okay. Go to fall. I need to reduce that infantry some. And I can't even attack during this round because that card got thrown into the discard pile. T-Bot's in my head. So I can kind of win this with a treaty, which I think is actually more historically accurate. I don't know if American forces like totally wiped out Tripoli. I think there was more just an agreement at some point. These Barbary Wars, I'll tell you what. So we're in the fall. I'm going to play Thomas Jefferson. And we're going to move up to 8 American frigates, resolve any battles that result. I want to leave 3 suckers here. I'm going to move these 3, this 1, because we don't need that in Alexandria anymore. And then my gunboats are like, hey, we want to join the fun. Whee! So we're doing a battle. Okay. And we're rolling 8 blue dice plus 3, so we're rolling 11 blue dice. I only have 8, so I'm going to add 3 yellow dice, and hopefully we can take out some of these forces, because we are going to need to get our troops into Dern at some point if we even want to win by treaty. So 11 dice, 1 measly 6. We're down to that, and I really wish if I had done that, just kept the other roll before, I would be down to 3 in there, which would be a lot better. And the way those cards played out would have been fine, but you never know, kids. I didn't want to risk losing earlier. So everything that was in that battle goes into Malta. I think I have to keep doing that too. So that was fall. Yeah, because I played 1 card from here. I lost a card because of the U.S. books overthrown. And I played these 2 events, so that makes sense. So the 3rd turn in 1805 for Tripoli. So Tripoli, this doesn't apply, this doesn't apply. Bam, there's not 3 Corsairs there. So Algiers declares war. replacing 3 of these things in Algiers. Now, if I let those suckers stay there, Yusuf Karamanli is going to apply, and again, they're going to go on pirate raids. I only have 2 gold left. I can't let that happen, so I'm going to play a show of force. So I was lucky to pick this up again, and I get to move 3 American frigates to an ally harbor. I'm going to move these 3 from Malta. And good thing, if I had the other card that let me send those suckers home, it would have cost 2. I couldn't have done that. I would have lost. I would have had to do like a naval battle, and that could have been sketchy. And now these suckers go home. So I am set up for a treaty when it comes to the Algiers, Tangier, and Tunis all being at peace. What I need to happen is I need to take over Dern, and I need to kill this frigate. There's going to be 2 of them, actually. And if I can wipe out this frigate and take over Dern, then I can play the treaty card and win. But I only have 4 turns to make all that happen. What's pretty much clearly not going to happen is I'm not going to be able to take over Dern, take over Benghazi, and take over Tripoli. That would be insane. I mean, at least I don't think I'm going to have a chance to do that. Woof. I just don't think I'm going to have the forces. They have too much infantry. All right, so everything's at peace. Excellent. We go to here. Constantinople, Yusuf Karamanli, 5 Corsair check. They're going to draw a card. Bam. U.S. supplies 1 run low. So U.S. supplies run low. Play if there are exactly 2 American frigates in the naval patrol zone of Tripoli. Play immediately. Otherwise, discard to perform. If I had only 2, I would have moved 1 American frigate from any naval patrol zone to the harbor of Malta. Since there is not exactly 2, I'm not sure why it's exactly 2. It seems a little weird. We discard that, perform a raider build. We're just going to build a Corsair because there were only 2 Corsairs there. And that was my winter action. Yeah, sorry, but I got a little sloppy with this. I played 1, lost 1, played 1, played 2. Yeah, so that was winter. That's the end of 1805. We go to 1806, and we go to spring. So now what? I'm going to draw the rest of the cards that I have into my hand. And effectively, since I have all the cards in my hand, I'm discarding down to 8. I have to decide what cards are going to be most important. Well, I'm going to need Bainjury's supplies intel because I'm going to need to get my card that allows me to raid Dern back. I'm going to need the treaty card because I think that's the only way I have possibly win. I don't think Benghazi is going to make sense. The Marine Sharpshooter is going to be interesting. Sending the Marines isn't going to make sense. Lieutenant O'Bannon leads a charge could. There's too many infantry for me to get through. So I think I'm just going to do all my ground force stuff in Dern and then hope I get lucky in the naval battle of Tripoli. I'm going to need at least 1 naval movement card. I don't need any more tribute cards because I've already took care of all the potential allies of the T-Bot. The Constantinople demands tribute card. I think I hold on to just to be safe. Recruiting Bedouins. I don't think it's going to make any sense. Congress authorizes action. Oh, this should have come out of the game when I played this. Sorry. When I placed the 2 frigates on that track. So that should not have even been there. I think I can hold on to the Assault on Tripoli card just because, and then I'll take another naval movement card. Yeah, Assault on Tripoli card. I'm not winning with Assault on Tripoli, so forget that. Woof. I'll keep 3 naval movement cards. Nah. I can't. Doesn't matter. 1. Yeah, effectively, I have 1 shot to win this. So, this is it. We'll try to get a treaty in winter. Bam. All right, we're in spring. Spring's wonderful. I'm in trouble. We are going to do this. I'm going to play Bainbury Supplies Intel, and I'm going to get the Dern Hammett. Nope. General Eaton attacks Dern card out and play that immediately. Move Hammett's army from Alexandria to Dern. We're a little bit outmatched, but I need to get a little bit lucky here, and I have some ways to make that happen. We're going to move up to 3 American frigates to the harbor of Dern. I'll move these 3. These gunboats are going to come with them because that's what they do. And then I'm going to resolve the battle for Dern. I'm also going to play playable at the start of any land battle. Marine infantry units will hit on a 5 or a 6. And I'm going to play Lieutenant O'Bannon leads the charge. I don't think I'm limited to just one. Does not say that, so I could play both of those. So Lieutenant O'Bannon, select 1 Marine infantry unit to roll 3 dice instead of 1. So this 1 American Marine unit will roll 3 dice, and then those 3 dice are going to hit on a 5 or a 6. Now the T-bot's like, well, you're going to play all these special cards. Well, I'm going to do the same thing. So they're going to play Mercenaries Desert. Play at the start of a land battle. Before the battle starts, roll 1 die for each Arab infantry unit. For each 6, take an Arab infantry unit and return it to supply. So they're rolling 5 dice to see if the mercenaries are like, thanks, but no thanks. This looks dangerous. We rolled 1 6, so I'm already down a unit. And now we're going to start with the land battle. Since I moved the frigates in there and the gunboats, they're going to do 1 round of bombardment. So we have 3 frigates, so that's 6 dice. We have 3 gunboats, so that's 3 more dice. I'll just take yellow for the gunboats. And they're like, we're going to try to help you guys out, but then we got to get out of here because, dinner's at 4. They ate really early in 1806. It was really weird. 0 6s. Excellent, guys. That was really well done. I appreciate all your help and support. Oh, my winning streak is on the line, kids. All right, so that's done. So we have now land battles. So this could be an early night. I am rolling 3 blue dice, and I'll roll 4 yellow dice for the Arab infantry. So that's my supply. The Tunis, or T-bot, not Tunis. This goes over here. They're rolling 5 red dice. Remember, my blues hit on a 5 or a 6. That's why I'm using the 2 different colors, because they're Marine sharpshooters. And remember, I'm rolling 3 blue dice because Lieutenant O'Bannon is just the man. He's like the Steven Seagal of 1806. Anyone has seen Bloodsport? Still a classic. All right, kids, let's make it happen. So I have 2 hits with these 2 blue dice. Again, the 5 counts. 1 hit from there. So I can apply that hit there. These go away. And now we're going to keep going. Land battles are not 1 round. You just keep going over and over and over and over. So I have 1 less die. They have 2 less dice. And that's for the whole battle. This is in place. So that's good. So I'm going to re-roll these. All right, 3 hits with the blue dice, 0 hits with the red dice. So I have taken over Dern. So that's accomplished. I've accomplished number 1. I've accomplished number 2. I've accomplished number 1. It's later than the fall of 1805. It's not much of an accomplishment. The cities are at peace, and the city of Dern has been captured. What else do I need to do? Well, there has to be no Tripolitan frigates in the harbor of Tripoli. Woof. Could be a problem. All right. And these all come out of the game. In the spring of 1806, T-bot's like, well, that's bad. These suckers are just hanging out in Dern like they own the place. So what's going to happen? Well, Constantinople is really weird. They're like, give us money. And they're like, oh, we're going to help you now because you paid us money. So playable if Hamet's army has captured Dern, placed 1 Tripolitan frigate. Bam, this goes there. So the fact that they captured 1 with the Philadelphia runs aground is really sad. And they're going to place 2 Tripolitan corsairs in the harbor. And they're going to place 2 Tripolitan infantry in the city, which is why I had 0 chance to assault Tripoli the way this game played out. So I need to kill these 2 frigates, and that's going to be super hard to do, but we're going to try to do it anyway. Especially since I can only move 4 at a time. Ugh. All right, so we go to summer. Now, if you battle outside of 180, it's a battle. If you're not doing the assault on Tripoli, there is just one. It's going to be 1 round of naval engagement. And how's this going to work? There's a priority list for the solitaire player. Yeah. So T-bot strategy notes. In a naval combat in 1805 or 1806, except the winter of 1805, the T-bot will allocate hits to its corsairs first and only take hits and then sink a frigate when there is no other available option. So we are going to need to roll lots of sixes, and it's not looking great. So they took my one frigate because they're little jerky jerks like that. So my turn, I'm going to play naval movement. See if we can't get super lucky. I'm going to move 4 frigates into the harbor. So I'm going to move these 4 frigates from here. The gunboats are coming with them. It's like, we're there because we're rolling so well today. So we're going to keep going. So we're just going to battle with the naval ships. So I'll just set it up this way just to make it a little cleaner. So we have the 5 corsairs, because they just added 2. Constantinople, man, I'll tell you what, the worst. They're rolling a total of 4 plus 5. So they're rolling 9 dice. Oh, but they're also going to play the guns of Tripoli. So playable during a naval battle in the harbor of Tripoli, the Tripoli fleet may roll an additional 12 dice. If played during the assault on Tripoli, only roll the extra dice in the first round of battle. So we're not doing the assault of Tripoli. That path of victory was pretty close. So they're going to roll 21 dice. It's a lot of dice. That's way too many dice, guys. I'm rolling 8 dice, 9 dice, 11 dice. It's like 21. It's just, minus 10. Super close. Super, super close. So I'm rolling 8 dice for my frigates, 3 dice for my gunboats. And again, we have to assign hits to the corsairs first before we can damage their frigates. If we damage the frigates, they're out and we're good. But we got some corsairs to get through to really have a chance to make that happen. So I'm just going to roll the 21 dice. Again, I only have 4 of my ships in here. These 3, I can only move 4. So these 3 are like, guys, be careful. It looks dangerous in there. And yeah, it does. I mean, it's just, it's what has to happen. So I'm just going to roll 7 at a time. I'm going to roll 7 3 times and we'll count the 6s. Count the 6s with me. 0 6s in the first 7. That's what I'm talking about. Save all the 6s for me. Second 7, 2 6s. That's not what I'm talking about. So we have 2 hits, and third roll 2 6s. So 4 6s all day. Woof. That's not great. I will injure 3 of my dudes. Oh, wait, I can assign hits how I want, right? That's better. Yeah, I'll destroy. Oh. Well, I still have to roll my 11 dice. Remember, if I destroy 3 of my ships, that's super bad. That's going to count toward their total of winning. So I'm going to destroy 1, hurt 2. These are going to just come out of the game and go to the supply. And that means I'll have the strongest fleet I can have the next time around. But I still am going to roll dice for all the ships that were there at the beginning of the battle. I need like 5 6s, kids. Oh! I got 5 6s. Oh, that's amazing. I did. I got it. So all the corsairs are out. So they assign the wounds to their corsairs first because they're strategic. That T-bot's no dummy. And now we have their 2 frigates go here. And all of my surviving ships go here. Again, 2 were injured. They just come out of the game. If it had not been 1806, they'd go on the track here. The one that was sunk, I just gave to the Tripolitans. I was like, here, you can have that. That's a memento of our joyous gathering in the middle of the ocean. These suckers are going to come out of the game. Oh, God. Let me catch up on the chat. I've seen that already for next week. Teammate, of course, displeased. There will be consequences. 1805 is the year the American turns us around. 1806 is when they finish it off, so don't fail us, Greg. I guess I will watch this whole thing at once. Signing up for now. Good luck to the Pirates. Sir, thank you very much. All right. I'm a secret pirate, man. So I'm going to take that as a wishing for me. That might be the best rolling I've ever seen you do. I know, it's amazing. Zach knows what's up, and there are no bears in this game, Zach. So I know you're disappointed. Don't expect the giant bear to come out of Tripoli and destroy me. Woof! Oh man, this is bananas. So they'll only sink a frigate when there's no other option. So I need to get at least 3 hits because I'm going to need to injure, sink, and then this guy comes off the board. I need to get rid of all their frigates. Oof. All right. So what is the T-Bot going to do? Well, Yusuf is never going to get played, so I'm just going to take him off the board because he's just clogging space. That's all he's doing. He's just wasting time. 5 Corsair check. Obviously not. We're going to draw the next card. It is Tripoli attacks. Whoa. That card was so exciting, it just created a giant coughing fit for me, is what just happened. All right. This could be good, I think. Hold on. What does this do? Tripoli attacks. If there's exactly one... No, there's not exactly one frigate. What? Not happy. This is me not being happy. All right, so what's going to happen? Tripoli attacks. If there's exactly 1 American frigate in the naval patrol zone, there's not. There's 3. And there are at least 5 dice worth of Tripoli ships. There's not. There's only 4. Play immediately. Otherwise, discard to perform a raider build. So we discard that. Raider build. We're adding another Corsair. So I'm going to need 4 6s to make this happen. 1 will kill the Corsair. Second one will injure that. Third will injure that. Fourth will take care of that. And then... Oh, wait. I only need 3 hits because they'll both be injured. Right. So the math, math is super hard. Yeah, it goes away. If a frigate is all surviving, blah, 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 sunk frigates. If a frigate is damaged, if it's 1806, it's returns to display and not considered sunk. So yeah, I only need 3 hits. So you're saying there's a chance. So we're going to fall. Naval movement, I'm moving up to 4 American frigates. They're all going to come in here. So my last frigates on the board with the gunboats. There's only 5 dice being rolled at me. I really don't care. I just need 3 6s. So, can you make that happen for me? Can I defy the math gods again? Twice in a row? Never going to happen. But it's fun to dream, kids. Then we already played the guns thing, so there's no extra 12 dice this time around. I'm going to roll for Tripoli first. They got 2 hits. Oh, don't take all my 6s. So they're going to give 2 hits to me. I don't care. I'm going to be able to assign that, and we're good. The question is if I can roll 3. Can I roll 3 6s? It's all I want for Christmas is 3 6s. No, I rolled 2. I rolled 2. That's so unfortunate. Oh, it's bad. So this guy gets hurt. This guy goes away. This guy gets injured. He just goes to the supply. These 2 go to the supply. I think that makes sense now. We'll go there and there and out. Yeah. I could just kill my gunboats. It'll make me feel happier. So my gunboats were just destroyed. So I got 2. There's 1 frigate left. He comes back here. We're going to do the next T-Bot turn. Again, this is their fall card. Second, Storms. So the Storms are insta card. We didn't see either of those. At some point, I really would not have minded that. If there's a naval patrol zone with at least 2 American frigates, play immediately. Otherwise, add to the end of the event line and draw another card. So that comes into play, and what happens with the storm cards is you roll. For every 6 you roll, the first 6 you sink an American frigate. The second 6 you just start injuring American frigates, and they would just go there. So when I had like a bunch of frigates grouped up earlier, it could be super dangerous. Again, if you roll pretty strong, it's a nice way to really deplete your fleet in some gross ways. But that's obviously not going to come into play this game. Tripoli acquires Corsairs, plays 2 Tripolitan Corsairs in the harbor of Tripoli is the next card. So now they have 2 Corsairs here. So I'm kind of back to the same math where I'm just angry and I want to take it out. Now, had I sunk that frigate or just injured that frigate and taken off the board, I would have then been able to play on my last turn of the game, the treaty, where I would have just won because I had all these victory conditions met. Unfortunately, that's not possible. So I'm just going to play a naval movement card. And we're just going to try to end this right. I mean, I could just try to get some more money back. But I was on my heels like for so much of this game that this kind of feels like I'll take this. It felt decent. Actually, I think it ends in a draw technically, um, since like no one's going to establish a winning condition here. But I'm gonna roll my 9 dice this time because remember I killed off two of my gunships. The Tripoli player is rolling 4. No 6s for them, and 1 6 for me. So they're going to assign it to one of their Corsairs. They go back. I go back to Malta. We go to their turn. Remember, this is their last turn. They added second storms to their event line, but they're not going to play it because we still don't have 2 American frigates in any one naval patrol zone. So they're going to draw another card. Moroccan Corsairs raid, pirate raid with all Corsairs from the harbor of Tangier. So we're going to T-bot, discard this to form a raider build. Raider build. There are no 3 Corsairs at any one naval patrol zone or in any one harbor, so they're just going to build another Corsair. And that is the end of the game. We're out of actions. So what happens? I'm pretty sure it just says it's a tie. I'm sad. That would have been ridiculous if I pulled that off. What is it? Victory conditions. Battle cards, Tripoli player. If neither player has achieved victory by the end of 1806, the game ends in a draw. Well, I draw you, T-Bot. That was cool. That was honestly for this game was super like samey for me the last 3 or 4 times I played, where it was just like I just had much more control of the game. The Tripoli player rolled a lot worse when it came to getting gold from me, so I never really had to worry about spending all the actions I did to get the gold back, and I rolled a lot better in my bombardments, so I really just kind of walked through Dern into Benghazi and just had a ridiculous assault on Tripoli. I also had been managing to avoid the Philadelphia runs aground card, so I'd never had like my ship captured. If I don't roll a 5 or a 6, then they only had 1 frigate on the board. I could have won that way. So I ended up in a really rough situation, and just to be able to come 1-6 away from managing to pull off a victory is pretty cool. Like, and so there's definitely, I'm glad to show that depth in a playthrough, like even if it was a losing effort. But it's a dice game in me on camera. Like, what do you guys expect at this point? So that was a really cool playthrough. Again, thanks again to Fort Circle Games for kind of introducing me to this game. Super interested to see what Kevin Bertram does in the future with the rest of his games. And again, I don't know the name. Someone could put it in the comments or put it in the chat here, like what the name is of his most recent game. I meant to look it up before I started this morning, and unfortunately just never got around to doing it. But it looks cool on the table. I mean, I'm looking at the camera now. It's a sleek little board. I do wish, I think it was X Huntonator that I was like, only hit on a 6. Yeah, I mean, the only times you hit on more than a 6, again, the Tripoli player has an advantage when they're doing pirate raids. They hit on a 5 or a 6, and then you have that one card that allows your Marines to hit on a 5 or a 6, which is huge in allowing me to take over Dern. But you see my army, I mean, normally you're playing, I have a big enough army to take over Benghazi and Tripoli, but they got all of their reinforcements. I ended up going to a lot of the Tripoli players' deck. In the assault on Tripoli card, there is a card that allows you to play additional American Marines, and there was a card that allows you to recruit more Arab soldiers, and that's not a lost card. So technically, you could play that 2 or 3 times and amass a bigger army that way. Generally speaking, it's really like action intensive though. So I mean, a lot of the times I'm just doing those bombardment rolls, and you start chipping away at Benghazi, you start chipping away at Dern, and ideally you take over one or both of them before the cards come that reinforce for Tripoli. And if you have, so say I had already taken over Dern, and then the Dern card comes up that says, oh, add to Tripolitan infantry, instead you would just discard it and do a builder raid action. In this game, I kind of got it from both ends, where I was basically getting stuck with too many infantry being put in all the cities, and they rolled so well with the pirate rolls early that I was basically like, raids are really scary. So I was kind of having a fight on both ends. It just really went. Oh, and they pulled all three of their ally cards too. At times where I was like, all right, I have to go take care of these. So I just kept putting out fires to put myself in a place where maybe I could win by a treaty. Which again, I'm not sure if I've ever won that way. I think my more common wins have just been the straight up assault route. Zach says game looks really good. Yeah, game really looks great. Yeah, this is definitely Zach is a close friend of mine. Everyone, and this is definitely a very much a Zach game. So he wanted to play this two-handed yesterday, and I was like, honestly, I played somewhat solo. I did not want to like. I was like, let me get this on the channel, and then I owe you a heads up match in Tripoli. I'll take the Tripolitan side because I feel like if I took the American side, it would be a little bit lopsided considering my familiarity with those cards. But playing on the Tripoli side, I think could be a fun little um, change of pace for me with this game. But it's cool. I'm excited to get it on the channel and probably won't look to feature it again. I mean, I think there's a lot of games like that it's a cool experience. I just think, this is the taste of it. You definitely, if it interests you at all, for sure pick it up and explore it on your own. I don't think there's much more to kind of that I can offer to it, especially I mean a playthrough that came down to one die on the last turn, like or the next to last turn. I think is super cool. So excited about that. What I got going on next week? I only have 2 playthroughs next week. Monday, you can expect a too many bones on Monday morning, starting around 11, and then on Tuesday we're starting around 10 with a Krang Volcari's Quest Take 3. I'm gonna get it done, man. I mean, I'm bringing out the big guns, or the big work chaos shaman guns. It's time. It's time to finish that sucker up, man. Oh, I thought I had it last time until there were 6 wounds buried at the bottom of the deck. That was rough. So we're gonna do that. So only 3 playthroughs next week. The week after that, though, we'll be back to 3. I am looking to do a 5 playthrough week sometime in October because I will have to take a pretty extended break for a couple of weeks in the last half of October. So, but I will make sure the playthroughs get out there, give you plenty of content, and we'll go from there. Pirate will go better with your beard. I mean, I don't know. Has anyone looked at pictures of like anybody in the known universe in the early 19th century? I feel like beards were just the thing, dude. I feel like I'm just a relic from another time. It doesn't matter what culture you're putting me in, but it's fun. I spent a decent amount of time living inside the old city walls of Jerusalem at some point in my life, and everyone thought I belonged to their group, which was good for me as an American, just trying to get around and see some things and be friends with everybody. But yeah, Palestinians were like thought I was Palestinian, and Israelis thought I was Israeli, and then I opened my mouth, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're just a dumb American." And yep, that's how that goes. But so it is what it is. I just have that ambiguous look, especially when I was like again living in a desert for months and got very much more olive complexioned than the white pastiness that is before you right now. But this was super cool. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Say thanks again to Four Circle Games. Definitely check out their stuff. Some cool things, man. The war game community, it's funny when I started this channel, the idea of like playing more traditional war game kind of stuff wasn't really on my radar, and it was probably Dawn of the Zeds that was like kind of opened my eyes to how like fun the mechanics really can be, and those dice checkers. I mean, I'm my luck aside, they just keep sucking me in, dude. I'm not gonna lie. It is what it is. So super cool. I hope everyone has a really great and amazing weekend. And until next time, happy gaming.
Solo.